Hey, and welcome back. Today we start Defiance, which, so far, is the end of the Legacy of Kain story. Now, you might say that I skipped Blood Omen 2. You wouldn't be wrong. There's a narrative momentum at the end of Soul Reaver 2 that kind of gets interrupted if you go and play Blood Omen 2 after Soul Reaver 2, which it makes sense to do so in a certain way, but it kind of drags. So for Defiance, we are bringing our friend, the coin, back. And the way that we're going to do it this time is if it lands on Raziel, we'll play the game pretty much straight. We won't eat unless we absolutely need to. We won't engage in wanton violence, which, I mean, given that it's Defiance and it's all about the combat, will be kind of difficult. If we land on Kain, however, we will feed from absolutely everybody we can, everywhere. We will not skip combat, and for an added twist, we're going to enter a cheat code. Now, which cheat code? I don't know. We'll do a different one each time. So let's flip. Today, it's Kain. Alright, so that means we are going to feed from absolutely everybody, and we're going to enter a cheat code. Which one? Well, I guess we'll have to see. One more thing before we get started. Defiance is available on PlayStation Network, and I absolutely insist that you go get it and play it. I am going to be playing on PC because of the great mods that are out there to make it look better. I will say that it controls far better on PlayStation than it does on PC, even with my custom X-Patter profile. The controller support being native means you get true analog controls, which is kind of difficult on an emulation for PC. The version that I'm playing has Vargatomi's character UI and environment texture packs, which look amazing. Go check them out if you're playing on PC. And then I'm also using Nemesis 2000's widescreen fix. I want this to look as good as I can for you as we play. So today we're going to play the first 3 chapters and see what happened right after Soul Reaver 2. Presumably, we don't actually know how much time has passed. Yes, that is fine.
Given the choice, whether to rule a corrupt and failing empire, or to challenge the fates for another throw, a better throw against one's destiny, what was a king to do?
I've inserted my rebuilt version of this here, just to make it look better.
Sacrifice my children to the void. I can do so with a clear heart. Become my
And I feel like there were things they could have added to this to make it a better recap. So I added them.
Redeem and destroy.
Once again, using those edit powers for dubious good, I guess? I don't know.
You don't know what you are, do you?
And of course, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Ozar Midrashim is one of the best themes ever used for a video game character. Any character, really.
But does one ever truly have a choice? One can only match, move by move, the machinations of fate, and thus defy the tyrannous stars.
Hell yeah. Okay, so there is actually a prequel comic about Defiance that released as a tie-in for the game back in 2003. Maybe we'll have to look at that sometime. Oh yeah. We'll get into that sound effect in a minute.
To the sanctuary of my enemy, the fortress of the Sarafan Brotherhood, deemed impossible for any man to penetrate. Impossible for any man.
Nom nom nom.
Deep within these walls my prey awaited. Moebius, the time streamer, deceiver and eternal gamester, using living beings as his pawns.
In the end, we'd rooted out an entire nest of the fiends.
But we had swept that area already.
Not well enough, but no matter. We purged every last one of that brood with fire, and their souls now rest.
Lord Moebius will be pleased.
We'll talk more about the
It was time
Sarafan
for
later.
Moebius to answer a few questions. I hoped for his sake to find him in a forthcoming mood.
And with the widescreen fix running at 1080p, 60 frames a second, and with Vargatomi's texture mods, I love how good this looks. Not going to look as good on PS5, unfortunately, but there's trade-offs. Controls definitely better on PS5 than they are on PC, even with the X-Pattern profile I created for this. Okay, so which cheat code are we going to do? Well, I'm not going to do anything that affects gameplay. You can max out the Reaver, you can max out your health, you can get invincibility, whatever. There are a number of cheat codes for that. That doesn't really make it super interesting for us as we play, so we're going to stick to just the appearance cheat codes. Now, one thing to know too is if you want to use cheat codes on PS5, you need to know that we'll disable your trophies, even the just for fun ones. Now, there's 4 of them we can do, and I'm going to assign one to each side of this 4-sided die here. All right, that is 3, which is going to correspond to the Tube Reaver. Awesome.
Fear the tube.
There we go. That's right, that replaced the Reaver with a cardboard tube. What's the purpose? Well, for fun, of course. Now, this is actually a reference to the classic video game webcomic Penny Arcade, who are huge Soul Reaver fans, even up to this day. They even did a comic about the remaster not long ago. Now, the combat in Defiance is probably the most fun in the series. That said, I do think that it doesn't quite fit the formula that had already been established, by Soul Reaver 1 and 2. Definitely the most developed combat of the series. Does that mean it's the best? Well, probably, actually, depending on how you want to define best, really. But it's probably the most engaging, but the counterpoint to that is, of course, the game's camera, and we'll get into that much more later. But for now, we'll just enjoy the first little bit of the game here. Yeah, mist form. Of course, the tube doesn't appear in the cutscenes.
Help me! Help me! Oh, please, no.
From time to time, it is necessary to feed. And the unusual event of a feast prepared by the Sarafan must be savored.
Now, this is some Kain stuff. Yeah. Yeah, just good, clean vampire fun. Om nom nom. I had a great conversation with a commenter a few months back about who are all of these prisoners, and I think one of the best explanations for this, other than just your common rank and file criminal and etc., these are vampire supporters, vampire sympathizers. It would make sense that the Sarafan would imprison any human that got in their way. As they're eradicating every vampire in Nosgoth. But because the ancient vampires had been around so long, and for reasons we'll get into in a moment, it would make sense that there would be many life upgrade here. There would be many humans whose entire culture revolved around the vampires in some way. Now, I don't know exactly what the nature of that is. It could have been coercive, it could have been cooperative. But I really believe that the humans with the most to lose from the Serafan's crusade would have been the ones that had either partnerships with or massive loyalties to the vampires of Nosgoth. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. We'll get there in a second. But we got More helpless victims to drink from. And I would bring back the helpless victim counter, but it's a lot of work for a full playthrough.
What was that?
Yoink! So I've got such a sick sense of humor.
The touch of water is like acid to a vampire. I had to find another way to pass.
And on to the platforming. Okay, so the platforming in Defiance. I'm going to talk about it a lot. And the platforming itself is not terribly bad, but what makes it really, really hard to deal with is the camera. Now, the camera is tuned for the... Case in point. The camera is tuned specifically for the combat. And trying to show off, you know, the most cinematic, most exciting details of the environment. Which, you know, cool. I get that. But that makes for a lot of really difficult platforming, especially later. Here you go. And how do I think... We'll talk later about how I think a modern revision of this camera could potentially be. But first...
This message undoubtedly led to the time streamer. My prey was nearly in my grasp. But the door had been sealed by a blessed barrier. As I approached, the Reaver resonated in response. Perhaps its dark sorcery could dispel these holy barriers. The Reaver was not yet powerful enough to shatter these barriers.
I mean, it's just a cardboard tube. What do you expect? Yeah, you can see all of the... I'll back up a little bit. See all the vampires here, skewered on the walls of the Sarafan's fortress. Noble and altruistic, of course. And this is so fun. Bonk. That is one thing about Defiance I absolutely love. All right. And we do have a little bit to explore here. Aha! An arcane tome, which unlocks bonus materials. Now, you don't have to collect all the arcane tomes to see all the bonus materials. They will all unlock when you finish the game. Now, one thing I should mention about PS2 versus PC is that the the voice sessions, which, as you know from Soul Reaver 2, are some of my favorite bonus materials ever. Defiance has those too, but only on PS2, not on PC. I actually don't know about Xbox. But I don't think there's a modern Xbox port that you can play, which, you know, it's sad. Do some wandering. Alright, kind of got in the lay of the land a little bit, so boom. Exactly the way I think Kain would open doors. Oh, murder holes, wonderful. Okay, let's take care of those. That's right, fear the tube. Bonk. All right, let's go.
Locked. What a love of doors these pathetic humans have.
All right, recognize this place? quite need health yet. But here's another tome. Good looking out, homie. Okay, it's a great animation, one of my favorites, and it looks so goofy with the tube. I love it. Get over here! The miss dodge is awesome. And another one of my favorite things in Defiance. Yeah, Kain doing some real vampire feeding there. Love it.
This emblem was unmistakably of vampire origin and designed to enhance the Reaver's power. But this coincidence seemed too convenient. Moebius clearly meant for me to find it.
Sound the alarm! Vampire! Don't let him escape!
Surround him! Surrender, fiend, and we will promise you an easy death.
I could promise you the same, but it would be a lie.
One of my favorite exchanges in the entire series. I love it. Stick around. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. That deserves an apology. Feed the tube. Now, another thing to know is that if you're playing on PS5, the trophies are not difficult to get. In a regular playthrough, I can almost guarantee you'll get a platinum, because you only need 5 of the health, telekinesis upgrades, and the arcane tomes. So you really don't need to try to find everything. I'm going to try to in this playthrough.
Had a curious resonating effect on the
You won't need to necessarily. Boom. The tube is now enhanced. Alright. Not gonna suffer these slings and arrows for long. Thank you. Recognize this place? It's the Ouroboros, of course. And I love that you can feed from a distance here, too. Very nice. You can om nom nom from wherever you are. So this would have been where Kain last saw Raziel.
This door had been equipped with a singular lock, requiring an unusual key. Somehow, I would find it.
And of course, at the end of Soul Reaver 2, this was the last place we saw Kain, where Raziel slipped into the spectral realm after, well, you know. It's not the fall that kills you, it's the sudden stop at the end. Bonk. Okay. Jump up here. Maybe. This is more of a PC issue than a camera issue. But another thing that you should do is come over here, see what you can see. Another TK upgrade. So how do I think a camera in a modern Defiance remaster would work? Well, I think it would kind of have to be a hybrid, honestly. I think it would work best if it behaved a lot the way it did in Soul Reaver 1 and 2, honestly. I think it would show off the characters a lot better. And I think that, having the free camera, which, by the way, was I was just so excited when I realized that Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remastered had the stick-controlled camera. I mean, it felt like a modern game. After the shoulder button control for the cameras for the original, I was so excited about that. Anyway, I think that we would need something similar to that for Defiance. And however, I do think that being that the camera is tuned to the combat, some of that should be kept as well. And I don't know whether it's a Metal Gear Solid, and I don't know whether that's a Metal Gear Solid subsistence style camera switch that you could do, old style versus original style, or whether it does it automatically. But I'm always an advocate for as much player control as possible. But I do like my long cutscenes, I will say that. Okay, so there is a hidden emblem here, but you've got to play with the dummies here. Kind of interesting that it has a tutorial after some combat sequences. Yep. But there's a purpose to this, which we'll see. Yeah, miss dodge. Smack, smack, smack. Ah, there's something. And another health upgrade. All right, moving on. Nom nom nom. Thank you very much. release the drawbridge. But yeah, about right there. Yeah, that's about how most Defiance would feel, ideally. Now, granted, I will say, I am no developer, and I have no idea how hard it is to make these changes. I know a lot about film production, I know a lot about TV and video, I know nothing about game development. Okay, and if you hold down attack, cast a Reaver spell. Now there's a lot more skippable combat in Defiance than you might expect. If you don't have gates slamming down on you, you can usually skip it. But we're going to do every fight, though, for two reasons. One, because the coin told us we had to, and not that we had to, that we get to. And also, you get combat experience the more that you fight enemies. And as you gain more combat experience, boom, right there, you can get new moves. Like this one. Boom. So we get a nice, fast combo attack there. They might be somewhat goofily named, but we'll go take a look at them really quick. I have to use a stick to control the pointer, because...
Cadaverous laceration.
There we go. Alright. So now, looks like we're going this way. Unless... Nope, that's the way I came. It can be a little easy, it can be kind of easy to get turned around in Defiance, especially in some of these areas where a lot of the features look the same. And I think that that's something that a free camera would help a lot with. Because the cuts do kind of make it a little confusing. As much as I love cinematic camera angles, and I do, there we go. Can we skip this? Yes, we can. Are we going to? No, we're not. Now, one thing you can do is you can look around. If you push in the camera control stick. Oh, or you can just, fall down to the bottom there. And we'll just wreck some stuff. Okay, so here's a fun power. Jump. Now, here is where there's only going to be a few things in Defiance that don't make sense if you haven't played Blood Omen 2. And some of these are they're mostly mechanical. Jump is a power that you got in Blood Omen 2, as well as another one coming up. Story-wise, I really don't believe that Defiance makes any less sense if you skip over Blood Omen 2. And we'll talk more about that as we go. We've got a thing here. Nice. So that should have been... Oh, we still have more to do. But all right. I have fallen into the water here so many times. All right. Let's see if we can do this without falling in the water. Small victories. They count. Whose boat is this, I wonder? And telekinesis. That's another one that that Kain acquired in Blood Omen 2. But we'll see that eventually. Sneak,
Yes,
sneak.
I understand. It will be done. The stage is set. You needn't linger in the shadows, Kain. It has been a long time, hasn't it?
No banter, Moebius. You know why I'm here.
Yes, Raziel. You sought to introduce your own pawn into this game, and now he's been swept from the board.
By your hand, I suspect. Where is he?
Perhaps you should ask, when?
That chuckle.
How humiliating it must be for you to come begging at my doorstep for answers.
Enough wordplay.
Don't threaten me, Kain. You see, I have the upper hand. How remarkable that the great Kain should succumb to the scepter's power like any common vampire.
I want to know where the scepter came from.
Still so arrogant after all these years, thinking you've devised some brilliant plan. You know nothing. You have read the signs, but missed their meaning. You believe you are that myth of vampire prophecy, the scion of balance, and that Raziel holds the key to fulfilling your destiny. But your messianic delusions have blinded you to Raziel's true nature. You have no idea what you've unleashed. There was a time when you might have heeded wise counsel when it was offered. Now, your vanity has made you witless. You will have to learn the truth for yourself. You'll be needing this. Your strength will return after I have departed. But by then, you will have more urgent concerns than pursuing me. Perhaps, when we next meet, you will have learned a little humility.
Ah, such a great scene. Richard Doyle, of course, is Moebius, and then Simon Templeman as Kain.
These strange creatures seem to manifest from the very shadows.
They just have so much fun in these scenes together, and I just, so nice to watch. These lesser shades are pretty much just cannon fodder. Can't feed from them, they don't really do much to hurt you.
Moebius's attempt at stopping me was not one of his better efforts. When I found him, it would be my turn to offer a few surprises.
All right, Raziel level. So that means we need to switch.
Surrender, Raziel. Abandon this petty rebellion. It was I who made you. Your life had played out, and in my grace, I spared you. You are my Reaper of Souls. You have no other purpose, no higher destiny. Just this. Accept your calling, Raziel. Let go of these vain hopes. Relinquish your will, and feed.
No.
What do you profit from this defiance?
Is there some grim satisfaction in infuriating you?
Love that line.
My patience is eternal, Raziel. How many eons can you bear to languish here? The wheel of fate must turn. All are redeemed in the cleansing agony of birth, death, and rebirth. This is the engine of life, the purifying rhythm of the universe to which all souls are irresistibly drawn. Yours is a necessary and noble function, Raziel.
Enough of your sermonizing. Are you trying to bore me into submission? Why must this game go on? We both know what you are. You're no better than the vampires you so despise. A voracious parasite, cloaking its appetite in a shroud of righteousness. I refuse to do your will.
I can see into your heart, Raziel. It is not your will, but cowardice that keeps you here.
How so?
You know what fate awaits you when you leave the Underworld. That phantom weapon you bear is a constant reminder, isn't it? The sword is waiting for you out there somewhere, and you tarry so as not to meet it.
I could not deny it. As long as I lingered here, defying my captor, I was able to postpone what I feared was my inevitable doom. To become the ravenous spirit imprisoned in the Reaver blade. But that sentence was no worse than the stalemate I now endured. Better to face one's destiny than cower from it.
Harvester of souls, I created you. And to this function, my angel of death, you will return.
Enough. Yes, I submit.
Very good. Indulge your hunger. Yes, embrace your calling, Raziel. You will find that just as defiance has its price, so obedience has its rewards.
And submission is not always what it seems.
All right, so first, there's an arcane tome we can get down here. Boom, there we go. Now, as you explore, some areas you can go back to, a lot you can't. So you want to try to do as much exploring as you can to try to find this stuff if you want to get everything. Now, how long has Raziel been down here? Well, we'll find that out eventually. But the Elder God is not wrong. Raziel, as he said, is avoiding his fate with the sword. He's avoiding his destiny, as it were. There's a kaiju post joke in here somewhere.
Below me swirled an ominous-looking mist. I knew that if I fell, it would mean my peril.
And... what the hell? Okay, well, little bug, but we are alive. That was close. So one of my little nitpicks is I always like the flying. I like Raziel's posture, his stance, his running, and everything else better in Soul Reaver 1 and 2 than in Defiance.
Do you believe your worthiness is so easily proved? Your way is sealed until you have offered further evidence of your obedience.
Whatever, Dad.
I must feed you before I depart this place.
You must feed yourself, Raziel.
The wheel must turn.
Ah, now you understand.
Nom nom nom. I guess it's actually get in my belly. Is that what we came to? So, the sound design in the Spectral Realm and Defiance is amazing. I love it. I love the screams and cries they use, which we'll talk more about in a minute. And, oh man. And, you know, just the echoes, the dynamics, everything. Kurt Harlan, just freaking genius. Kurt Harlan, Jim Hedges, both.
Please don't do it.
Yeah, another tricky platforming part, which there will be many.
But remember, you are mine. You can no more escape from me than you can escape yourself.
It won't help.
Okay, so this woman crying sound effect you can actually find in Red Dead Redemption. You can check it out at this link here. Sound designers tend to use a lot of... Video game sound designers tend to draw from a lot of the same sound libraries.
You want this room cleared of its vermin.
If you wish to leave it,
your will be done.
Unfortunately, we don't have a Soul Reaver for Raziel. Okay, another preference nitpick thing. The appearance of the Reaver. Now, my favorite Reaver appearance is in Soul Reaver 1. I like the length of it, I like that it's an energy blade. In Defiance, I like how long it is. But you can see that Raziel actually, you can see kind of he's holding it. It's not just extending out of his arm, he's kind of holding it, and it's a ghost of the blade, right? Which, I mean, cool idea, and that might have been the intention for the other games at the beginning. But I feel like, just conceptually, it works better when the shape of the blade is more amorphous, I guess, than having a concrete silhouette here, like it does in Defiance. Again, minor nitpick. I'm a fan of the series, which means I've got opinions about everything.
you see, obedience brings prompt rewards.
Here? Nope. Oh. Whoops. Oh man, it's starting me up.
He keeps falling off the rock.
Do I have to do the fight again? Nope. And this part, with this setup, is pretty tough. I might have to do it a few times.
Where do you think you're going, little soul?
Okay, now...
You can't escape.
Yeah, watch me. Now here's a point where the mechanics and the lore clash, and that is climbable walls in the Spectral Realm. Was not a thing in Soul Reaver 1 and 2, but I guess they mechanically we're backed into a corner here. Oh. Just like I'm mechanically backed into a corner here. Where climbable walls ended up being a necessity with the levels they had designed, whether you were in the Spectral Realm or not. Which kind of a bummer, but I mean, I can see how that happened. Oh. Yeah. So yeah, that's another example of the camera defeating the platforming.
Little soul? Run faster. Embrace your destiny.
And up we go.
You will never escape.
Just for that.
I grow tired of this, Raziel.
There we go. Yay.
Clearly my escape had not been anticipated, or my benevolent master would not have expended such efforts to prevent me from going. And if my departure displeased him, then that was a victory, however small, for me.
Oh, and the delivery there. Michael Bell is just so amazing with just the nuances of his reads and his choices that he makes for Raziel as a character. Love it. All right, let's see what else we can find here.
In the Spectral Realm, water is as thin as air, putting this opening far beyond my reach. But once I found my way into the physical world, I might be able to swim up there.
So we'll just kind of have to keep that in mind. There's a few backtracky parts. There's, well, a lot of backtracky parts in Defiance. But you do benefit greatly from just kind of remembering some places that you can go back to. Ugh, okay. This is another part that I have struggled with a lot on PC. Although to be fair, I struggled with it a fair bit on PlayStation as well. So if we hug closer to the wall, jump at the last possible second. Nope. Let's try it again. Let's try going to the outside and jump it. There we go. Jump at the last possible second. And that should probably work for you.
This door would only open when fitted with an appropriate artifact. But to use such an object, I would first have to find a way back into the material realm.
Now these things are interesting because they will actually follow you from the material realm into the spectral realm. Which leads me to believe they're no ordinary plant. Aside from, all the grabbing and stuff. Okay, we need to remember this door here. So we'll come back and visit that later.
At last, I discovered a conduit into the material realm. I would finally escape the spirit world and take one step farther from my tormentor.
Aha, but...
Did you think to receive the same favors after your rebellion as before? No, Raziel. I have no need for you to enter the physical world, so no conduit will be granted. You serve me adequately as a wraith, and a wraith you will remain.
You're grounded, mister.
So, my restraints had not been removed, only loosened. I would not be held prisoner in the spectral realm. There had to be another way.
Once again, recycling my material. Another thing I
was granted a vision of what I would become if I did not escape the spectral realm. For these too were agents of my master, hunting the lost souls that struggled to escape the endless twilight of the Underworld.
All right, so one thing I really like about Defiance is the variation on the enemies in the spectral realm. So in the other two games, we had, in Soul Reaver 1, we had the Sluagh, and that was pretty much it. And then, it's Sluagh and the Vampire Wraiths, of course. And then in Soul Reaver 2, no you don't. In Soul Reaver 2, we had the Sluagh and the Sluagh dogs. And here, we've got all kinds of enemies. We've got the Sluagh, of course, and we've got these Vampire Wraiths here, which are much more interesting. And we'll see more later.
My master's plan for me was ominously clear. Like these mindless hunters, I existed only to fuel him with souls, siphoning their energy to feed him and his wheel of fate. I had to break these bonds, while I still possessed my own will.
Okay, back with Kain now, which means we gotta change our setup again. There we go. Okay, back to it.
Fear the tube.
And our tube. Okay, so looking around Moebius's chamber here, don't jump in the water, but we can see a shrine here, which we can assume is a shrine to the Elder God, who Kain doesn't know about yet.
This artifact seemed as though it was made for that unusual lock. Now the door could be opened.
Now, one thing that you can do, every item that you pick up,
Falcon insignia.
You do get a voice line. Now, you don't get any additional flavor lines for it, but still fun to hear Simon and Michael say the words out loud. back up into the stronghold. Oh, and here we are, back here again. Oh, we can't just go through the door. I do find using telekinesis to be a pretty effective crowd control tactic a lot of the time. Anything down there? Nope. We've got dead Sarafan in here now, which makes me wonder if these shades been unleashed now. Are they helping us kill Sarafan? Like, helping us. The answer is probably no. The hole that we made earlier is now closed up. Bummer. Well, that's okay, we got more stuff to explore. I want to check all these cells as we go up. This food is always nice. Here we go. Another rune, excellent. And just for fun, we'll check behind us. Up, and then fall. Kaboom. And then, of course, there's these blood pots around that you can drink from as well when you need them. All right, so the way we went before is gated, so we'll go back through here now. In the chapel that will be eventually known as William's Chapel, but not right now. Since we're in the time of the Sarafan, of course, 500 years before Blood. Nope. Not what I wanted to do. Bounce him off, man. Love that laugh. Calm it up. We could... No, we can't skip this fight. Never mind. Alright. A drink from this blood pot over here, which, a little weird when you think about it. Blood's just kind of sitting there. I mean, you don't know where it's been. Oh, look at that. Somebody thoughtfully cleared all of these arrow shooting a-holes from this hallway. How kind of them.
Malik, the great Sarafan warrior. I had met him before. His sword and shield seemed to have gone astray.
Alright, so now we've got to go find Malik's stuff. That is really satisfying, I will say that. Okay, dual mace guy. Somebody showed up to work today with the intention of trying way too hard. Okay, the two most fearsome enemies in Defiance, the camera and dual mace guy. Of course, they're in league with each other. There we go. Okie dokie, let's move on. Now that we've got the eagle, now that we've got the falcon insignia, we will be able to, oh yeah, spellcasters. We want to prioritize them for sure. There we go. Close-up tube impalement. I really gotta watch my phrasing on this stuff.
Tell me, where can I find your master? Quickly.
Notice Kain's
Moebius
earring.
is...
the tower.
Good.
Okay, so we've seen Kain's earring a lot, but I don't believe we've talked about it on the channel yet. That's Vorador's ring, actually. The ring that Vorador gives Kain in Blood Omen 1, I guess give a beacon for Vorador to teleport to when Kain finds Malak. So it makes me think a lot about how Kain thought about Vorador in the years after Blood Omen 2. We don't know what happens after that, right? We don't know necessarily if Vorador survived at the end of Blood Omen 2, which I think he did. But I think that Kain had an uncharacteristic level of nostalgia for Vorador, because Vorador, as I've said before, was the one character in Blood Omen 1 who was really looking out for him and giving him good advice and actually trying to help him not achieve his goal, but just to live, and learn to be a vampire. I think that Kain recognized that and realized that. And, skipping over everything that happened in Blood Omen 2, which we'll talk about later, I do think that Kain perhaps had a nostalgia for Vorador, a sentiment for him, that he probably had for very few others. Maybe he just wears it because Vorador was being a bro. Watch out, they called in the green tabards. Yeah, it can be a little disconcerting to be on fire, isn't it? Oh, hey. As much as I appreciate you running around setting everyone on fire for me, I do want to try to get this guy. Thank you. Now, if you do every fight, it's very likely you will have your combat skills maxed by probably the middle of the game. There we go. Now up the stairs. Anything else up here before we move on? Always good to check. Oh, that's where we came out. Okay, this overlooks a hallway we've been through already. Anything over here? Nope. I do love jump. I really do. Health upgrade. Fantastic. And an arcane tome. Nice. Remember block puzzles? Luckily, they're not quite that annoying. Okay, and this is an issue that I've had with the PC version of Defiance. I'm pushing left when he was going right there. See, there we go. So yeah, we're gonna go to the D-pad. There we go. Nope. It has zero relation to the buttons I'm actually pressing. See, unfortunately, we can't just lazy style it either. I miss being able to lazy style it. I might have to get a keyboard out for this. Ugh, so close. No. This is a reason that I recommend playing on PS5 instead of PC. Oh, for f***'s sake. We're gonna use the keyboard. It's doing that even on keyboard. Right is right and left is right. Sometimes it's left, but mostly it's right. There we go. Yeah, for a better control experience, definitely play on PS5.
Malek's missing shield. I hated to restore his dignity, but I would need to return this to his monument before I could progress.
See, oh, here we go. We're back to that wonderful place where these very routine kind of gameplay explanations and tutorial stuff, they go hard on the dialogue, and I love that. Absolutely love that. Alright, and it wants us to just jump down here, which we will. So that's where the fight is. And by that's where the fight is, I mean that's where the food is. Nom nom nom. And we can feed from multiple at the same time, which is awesome. Fine, we'll give Malik back his stuff. We can fight these archers right now if we want. Actually, yes, I think I do want. Because they have a rather difficult time surviving the fall. Alright, fine. There we go, shield door. Nope. That just takes us up to the upper level here. Plenty of blood up here if you need it. What does the Sarafan do with it? Ah, and another TK rune. Down you go. Anything over here? There is not. And before you go over there and get Malik's stuff, there's a very inattentive guard here. Come over here and get another health upgrade. Yeah, I love the Victus reads in Defiance. And the sword.
Malik's sword belonged in his right hand. However distasteful this errand was, I would return it to its proper place.
So when we see Malik in Soul Reaver 2, and in Blood Omen 1, of course, because those two events happened concurrently, Malik actually has a spear, or a glaive, actually. And so I always found it a little discordant that he had a sword and shield. But, I mean, as the Conflict Guardian, he would have been trained in every single weapon. Even if he only used them to guard the circle. Ah, that right there. Awesome, awesome Victus read. Alright, back to the courtyard. Just jump on down there. Oh crap, that was a waste. There we go. Oh, we've got a caster around here. Oh, we got double mace guys back.
The way to the tower now lay before me.
Hold on,
forward to
I gotta put this back.
Moebius and resuming our conversation.
Yep, wait patiently while I feed on your friend. Boy, that was a lucky survival bit. Man. Bad day for all of them, but especially for that guy. Ow. Okay. Kain, the mighty vampire. knocked over by an arrow from a murder hole. Kind of embarrassing. And I know that says more about me than it does him. Caster Blaster. So one thing I will say, even though that PC running at 1080p with Vargatomi's texture pack, which again, great work, Vargatomi. Even as amazing as it looks, the PS2 port on PS5 still looks really good for a game of the era. Alright, so we have a door that we can open over there later. Oh, look at this. A bridge and lots of dudes. So much fun. Yeah, through the statue. 2 points. Whew, that was close. Anything over here? Nope, there's not. Wreck stuff with my mind. And, you know, with vandalism. Anything here? Ah, yes. And we should take a second and save. Haven't done that yet. Don't bother me, I'm eating. Thank you, very polite. All right. There's nothing here but monster closets. And then here we actually can't get through there yet, so we're just gonna go. I mean, we could go through the door, but yeah. Woo! So satisfying. Really gorgeous work, though, by the environment team here. No, we can just turn it.
Curious. This artifact, joined with the relic I discovered earlier, appeared to be but one fragment of a larger emblem.
And my tube is on fire!
This shard was endowed with elemental fire, enhancing both the Reaver and my telekinetic powers.
So now we can set braziers on fire with telekinesis. Provided we can, oh, and we can put them out. Aha! Check that out. Arcane Tome. Nice. There we go. Now we have the Flame Reaver now, or the Flame upgrade for the balance set. Not to confuse it with the other upgrades, but the Reaver spell for this Reaver is actually a callback to Inspire Hate from Blood Omen 1. So all the enemies will turn on each other. That's right, Mace Guy turned on his caster friend, and now he can feed the Reaver. I have it out for Mace Guy now. Double Mace Guy, my nemesis. All right, let's move on. Whoa, 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 Ed!
Fear the tube.
Seriously? Okay. And now we can light these guys. It's a very convoluted way to get up this tower for the people who would do it every day. There are those PC controllers again.
He keeps falling off the rock.
There we go. Finally. Ugh.
Here you are at last. I see you found a fragment of the balance emblem. This will be of even further use to you, if you can find the other 3. Now, shall we?
Yes. Let us continue our conversation, but on a somewhat different footing. Now, what do you have to tell me, Moebius?
You cannot kill me. We both know that this is not how or when I die.
Death is not the only possible outcome.
Such a great scene.
Your delusions of fulfilling the vampire's foolish prophecies have badly distorted your judgment. And Raziel is not what you think.
You dare imagine what I think.
So, you prevented Raziel's soul from entering the Reaver. Do you believe for a moment that by this you have averted your fate? Or his? Or that of Nosgoth itself? Your manipulations are pathetic.
Yet Raziel retains his free will, and that's what frightens you, isn't it, Moebius? You cannot see his path, and so you cannot control it.
And neither can you. Yes, Raziel is shrouded from us, but we see the ripples of his potential actions, and every path he might choose leads to the same outcome. He will kill you, Kain. In sparing Raziel, you have written your own death sentence.
You still have not answered the question I came to ask. Where is Raziel?
He is not, in a true sense, here. Not now.
Don't try my patience, Moebius. What have you done with him?
He is contained. In time, it may be safe to release him. His destiny must be completed. He will enter the sword. But until that time, he is dangerous. Far more dangerous than you could understand.
And your incontrovertible evidence?
The answers are plain, if you know where to look. Go west of the pillars. There you will find a testament written in stone.
But stones, too, can lie.
Yep, and see, that is exactly my whole point. So yeah, as we'll see later, we'll find one of the modes of exposition that I have issues with in Defiance. First, let's grab this guy. And then this room here. This, I think, can be assumed, is the council chamber. Now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seats, not 9. So there's 9 guardians, of course. And of course, at this point, not a lot of people to sit in them right now. But it makes me wonder, okay, you know, is there a hierarchy? Because there's 2 fewer chairs here than there are circle members. So yeah, it makes me kind of wonder who doesn't get to sit down.
The pillars of Nosgoth stood pristine against the horizon. To the west, I would find the enlightenment Moebius felt I lacked.
All right, you're gonna wanna make sure that you've got everything that you need pickup-wise. By this point, you should have if you're following along with me, you should have 6 health talismans, 4 telekinetic runes, and 4 arcane tomes for Kain. Okay, we've got them all, so let's move on. All right, and that's where we're going to stop for today. Next time, we're going to go through the cemetery with Raziel, and we're going to forge the Reaver. again. Anyway, join us next time for more adventures of Kain and Raziel. And if you like what you see and you want to see more, do the things.